special has it been to be able to share this with Blake now a little later in his career?
It's very special. I've waited patiently with circumstances that I understood, and I actually think at this point what I've learned as being a father of a professional hockey player is helped me, and I think it is even better to be here after I've had that experience. And then of course I meet a lot of really great dads who played hockey or they've coached hockey, and so far this has just been amazing for me.
It's one of the parts that I enjoy, watching the most. I mean, we see it obviously at the minor hockey levels, but the camaraderie, and obviously you guys all have something in common. But there's obviously some good friendships that start to develop here over the course of this trip, isn't it?
Oh, right off the bat, because I really only knew two dads so far, based on players that left, players that came in. So having the opportunity to meet every dad for all the players is I'll cherish that forever.
You got in time, got into Calgary just in time too. You see Blake score that big goal on home ice, and I know that was kind of the unofficial start to the trip. But maybe now, as you look at the early days in the NHL, and maybe even going back to when he was playing youth hockey. But what are those moments like when you see your kid achieving and excelling at the highest level?
Well, obviously it's a fun event, as a parent, but you want to win the game. That's where it starts. You want to come out here because players are happy, including our son, when they win a game. And then so it's just icing on the cake as to how they play, what the chemistry of the play is, for the team they're playing and that sort of thing. But, I have to admit when the puck goes in the net, and especially if it's, an important, which most of them are, that, it's it just naturally. I'm a pretty calm person normally, and, but when you're a hockey parent, and something like that happens, it just happens, and the emotion just comes right out. But
it's funny because I think earlier this year we were talking about a big milestone for Blake, and 500 games, and you look, and I think it was Husk that said, I'm sure that his parents would say this when he was young, he was always one of the hardest working. I mean, what could you say about young Blake and the work that he put in to get to where he is?
Well, early on, he was always the most disappointed when he was out on the ice and he got scored on. That meant more to him than scoring a goal. And I think that attitude and that importance is still very high in his mind as to what his plus minuses have typically always been higher for that reason. He'd rather come off the ice and go to the bench not having been scored on. But on the flip side, he learned through some really good coaches and watching other kids that he played with, he knew how to use his talent offensively so that he had a good balance. He played at the net going in, he'd protect the net on the backside, and that's never wavered. That's always kind of been. And you look at the end of a season, you kind of see how he looks like a two-way guy.
It's funny because I know he's always modest about it, but he's already right at the top when you talk about games played and things like that, representing Texas. I think he always says not bad for a kid from Texas, but what does that mean to the family when you see him achieving what he's achieved and really just kind of being sort of a role model for so many kids back home?
Well, it's huge because Texas, with the Stars coming to Texas when he was 3 or 4 years old, and then the way that they were able to build out that team that came to Texas and create a lot of interest and opportunity, continued to, I think, accelerate his commitment that he'd like to, and play on the Dallas Stars, someday. Yeah. But then you kind of fast forward that, and his opportunity to play in the USHL, to go to college, get 4 years in a business degree, go, be drafted by the Devils and then play with the Devils. For us, it was like, if that was the end of it, it'd be perfect. If that's all it became, it then had the opportunity, of course, to go to Tampa and then be here. So we find that as exciting because you go to a new club, you go to a new location, and you have that opportunity. But overall, I think Blake's willingness to, against all odds, to just continue to play and try to do the best he can, it worked out.